Pro Wrestling Fan Show. I'm your host, Robert. Today's going to be a review of the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view that was last night. Like I said in the preview, a lot of predictability here. There was a couple things that were unpredictable. One of them was great to see, the other one, we didn't need to see it. Alright, first match was the world title. He had champion Alberto Del Rio versus the Big Show. Obviously, this is their third in a series of matches. The first two were last man standing. This one was just straight up. It also started the Royal Rumble with this match. This match was nothing really special. Couple things interesting happened. Del Rio had Show in the armbar, and Big Show was able to pick him up and then, you know, do a suplex and whatnot. Del Rio had Show in the corner, went to jump up and do kind of like a, maybe like a Pele type kick, but like, you know, try to kick him, and just completely botched it. And it looked so bad when he did it. And then he went, oh, I better do it right. So he did it, and he actually kicked him that time. It was about a 13-minute match. I gave it about two and a half stars, which was less than last month's match. Del Rio actually won by Welcome to Pro Wrestling Fan Show. I'm your host, Robert. Today's edition will be a review of last night's Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. First match was the world title match. We had champion Alberto Del Rio versus the Big Show. This is the third in a series of 3 matches they've had. They had 2 last man standing matches, one on SmackDown, one at the Royal Rumble. This was a straight up match. It wasn't alright. It didn't do much for me. I actually give it a 2.5 star match. Last month was 2 3/4 because of the last man standing rules. This was a short, sweet match. I had very few good spots in it. Del Rio had Big Show in the armbar. Actually, Show was able to pick him up and then drop him from that. And then Del Rio had Big Show in the corner and went up to kick him and missed. Completely botched it. You know, the entire crowd was like on Del Rio for that botch. He ended up doing the move again and actually kicked him that time. The winner was Alberto Del Rio by submission. So, and remember that Del Rio won by submission. There's the winner of the Chamber likes to use a submission hold, so might be something with that. The next match on the card was the U.S. title. Champion Antonio Cesaro versus The Miz. This match was nothing. I actually ended up in DQ. Miz got DQ'd. He ended up kicking Cesaro in his man parts. Not once. He did it, got just DQ'd, and did it again just to make a point, I guess. So where they go with this forward, I don't know. They've been making Miz look awful weak here on Raws, in his past few Raws. So I know Antonio Cesaro is a great, in-ring wrestler. He can grapple, he can brawl. I know a lot of you guys have watched him on the Indies as Claudio Castagnoli, know what kind of talent he has. Hopefully they'll get somebody, in there with him that can actually do what he can do. The mat wrestling, the, high flying, the brawling. So we'll see where this goes, but hopefully the Miz and Cesaro are done. But Cesaro won by DQ. We had the #1 contender for the Elimination Chamber, which is Chris Jericho, Randy Orton, Jack Swagger, Kane, Daniel Bryan, and Mark Henry. Like I said in the preview, Mark Henry really didn't do a whole lot in this. This was the 16th Elimination Chamber match of all time. Chris Jericho has been in the most, and actually Triple H has won the most. Typically in an Elimination Chamber match, somebody gets eliminated pretty early. In this one, all 6 competitors got in the match, which actually started with Daniel Bryan and Chris Jericho, which was kind of a match inside the match. These two guys started and had about a 4 or 5 minute little match between the two of them, which, all you fans that have seen this on Raw and back on NXT know Daniel Bryan can go and Chris Jericho can go. So that was actually, I really enjoyed that little part. Hopefully they do something with those two moving forward. But Mark Henry ended up getting in. He was the sixth guy in. He eliminated Daniel Bryan and Kane. They showed a little friction between those two. So I'm thinking going forward they might actually do something at Mania with Kane versus Daniel Bryan. Orton actually ended up pinning Mark Henry. Orton ended up pinning Jericho. Because the final three was Randy Orton, Chris Jericho, and Jack Swagger. Kind of like I predicted in the preview. Orton ended up RKOing Jericho, got the pin. As soon as Orton pinned Jericho, Swagger rolled him up, 1, 2, 3, we'll win. So your new #1 contender for the world title is Jack Swagger. Like I said, when Del Rio won, Swagger's been doing that ankle lock, so you got kind of a couple of submission guys here. Maybe they're going to do something at Mania, submission match or something. Which wouldn't be horrible to see, but there's people I'd rather see in this title match versus the two that are in it. Like Jack Swagger and his little mouthpiece, which for you guys who don't know, it's actually Dutch Mantel. He's been around the business forever and a day. He's been in TNA, WWE. He's been a lot of backstage stuff. They're trying to get Swagger being the All-American, Obviously Del Rio's Mexican. They're trying to say the Mexicans shouldn't be here. So it's going to be a 7-week lead up to Mania. A lot of racism brought up, a lot of hot button topics with, Mexican Americans and whatnot. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see what they do with this. The match itself, I think it's going to be alright, but we'll have to see. Obviously no cash in by Dolph Ziggler, which a lot of people were predicting. Dolph himself said, I'm cashing in before Mania. With Swagger winning this, I'm not quite sure how that's going to work in the Mania plans. What I'm betting is they might do something with Dolph and Chris Jericho at Mania. Kind of have them two guys just have a match that kind of steal the show. And people kind of forget about it. And then, when this match happens between Del Rio and Swagger, have Dolph cash in. But who knows. But your #1 contender for the world title is Jack Swagger. Next on the card was the 6-man tag with Shield versus John Cena, Sheamus, and Ryback. They end up not putting this in the chamber, so there's only one Elimination Chamber match on the pay-per-view. It's actually a fairly good match, John Cena, Sheamus, Ryback. Everybody thought, hey, these guys, they can't not get over on this, The Shield won the previous, 6-man tag they were in a couple months ago. So it looked, back in Hell in a Cell. So it really looked like no matter what, Cena, Sheamus, and Ryback are going to win this. There was a couple pretty good spots where Sheamus was standing on the outside and Roman Reigns actually speared him through where Lillian Garcia sits and actually almost took out Lillian Garcia. Pretty much at the end of it was Ryback had Seth Rollins up like he was going to do a powerbomb. Roman Reigns speared him. As soon as he speared him, Reigns kind of just fell on him. 1, 2, 3. Made Ryback look as weak as he's ever looked in WWE. Only the second time that Ryback's ever been pinned. He was pinned in the Hell in a Cell match with help from Brad Maddox and Punk. But yeah, they made Ryback look pretty weak in this. I actually thought this was a really good match. I actually scored it 3.25 stars. They give it about 16 minutes. So, going forward, looks like the Shield, 2-0. So we'll see what they break off from this and where they go with it from this. Next is kind of a impromptu match. Mr. Money to Make himself, Dolph Ziggler comes out. He's talking about being not being on the card, whatnot. Booker T came out and said, hey, we'll make a match. Brought out Kofi Kingston. Really? Short, sweet, zigzag, 1, 2, 3, win by Dolph. At the end, Biggie Langston just beat down Kofi Kingston, And, as we were watching, I was with the Pro Wrestling Pulse guys, J-Man and Ryan back, and we were kind of watching it. We were making little little snide comments. If you've seen our show over there, you kind of see what we're kind of little racism stuff we were talking about. So, Fidolf got the win. There's no point in the match. It's kind of a filler, I guess. Next up was the Divas title. Caitlyn versus Tamina Snuka. You know, the daughter of Jimmy Superfly Snuka. She, I guess, thinks because she is the daughter of a Hall of Famer, she should, you know, I guess be a Hall of Famer. I don't know. Pointless match. Caitlyn. I just, you know, I don't really care for her that much. The Divas division is just going straight downhill since Mickie James and Beth Phoenix and Natalya is not really doing nothing. You know, they got Layla and Natalya not doing nothing, but yet this is the match we get. Go figure. Main event. WWE Champion. We have CM Punk, who believes after the Phoenix Screwjob that he should be champion for 455 days at this point. He comes out with the title. Doesn't belong to him, but he stole it on Raw. Versus The Rock. Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Why they're letting a part-time wrestler be champion, I'll never know. Obviously, he is a name. You know, a decade ago, he was it. He was the main event. I know they're trying to get buy race for WrestleMania. WrestleMania 28 was the highest bought WrestleMania ever. It was one of the worst WrestleManias ever. You know, Rock Cena, I don't want to see it. You know, I was hoping somehow Punk would have won this, but unfortunately no. Rock got a clean win. They give it some time. They give it about 20 minutes. As it started getting later and later, you're kind of like, okay, what's going to happen here? You know, when's this going to go? They did a couple spots on the outside. Punk and Rock were on the Spanish announce table. Punk rock bottomed the Rock, and the table did not break. Unlike at Royal Rumble, they stood on the table and it broke. Punk ended up pushing the Rock, and he went into the referee, knocked the referee out. Punk came in, pinned him, no referee to count. A second referee comes out. He ends up getting hurt or dragged out of the ring or whatever ended up happening. Punk did a couple spots, Rock did a couple spots, and Heyman went to hit, or Rock ended up, or yeah, can't talk right now. Punk ended up trying to hit the Rock with the title belt, missed and hit Heyman. And at that point, Rock bottom, people's elbow, 1, 2, 3, Rock is still your champion. Very predictable, Rock winning, very predictable. Almost everything else that happened in this except for the Shield winning, that was very unpredictable. Really enjoyed that. As you've seen in my videos, you know I'm a big Shield fan, big Seth Rollins fan. Jack Swagger winning in the Chamber. That was very unpredictable. Kind of to see where they're going with this. Kind of be interesting. Same with Rumble. I give this pay-per-view a 6 out of 10. I mean, Punk Rock wasn't a bad match. It's a little bit better than last time. John Cena, Sheamus, Ryback versus the Shield. I give that 3 1/4 star match. Nothing else really on the card. Made really a lot of, you know, was really worth watching. I mean, going forward, there's 7-week build to WrestleMania. We'll see what happens. It looks like right now you got The Rock versus John Cena for the WWE title. You got Jack Swagger versus Alberto Del Rio for the world title. Looks like you'll have CM Punk versus The Undertaker. Taker should either return tonight on Raw or in the upcoming weeks on Raw. You're going to have Brock Lesnar versus Triple H. So Triple H is going to be returning soon. Maybe some variation of the Shield versus Ryback, Sheamus. My guess was maybe a Ryback versus Seth Rollins. You never know. Hopefully like a Dolph versus a Chris Jericho. You know, maybe Kane versus Dean O'Brien. These are just things that what I've been seeing, what I'm kind of predicting for Mania. Check back on the Pro Wrestling Fan Show for some maybe top 5 WrestleMania moments in the lead up to the 11th anniversary show for ROH, and then the preview for the TNA Lockdown. So keep checking back, and you can also check me out on Pro Wrestling Pulse, where I made a guest appearance last night, and I'll be making some appearances coming up soon. Alright, well, thanks for watching, and have a great night.